most of us would agree that since the pandemic, mental health there's really been a growing understanding of the potential impact of mental health on us all, silently impacting our families, our communities, our workplaces, our productivity and our future. Despite decades of research, statutory inquiry, system reforms and action plans, and significant investments by government, business and philanthropy, rates of psychological distress and mental disorder are not decreasing. In fact, for young people, rates are increasing. At the Brain and Mind Centre, we've been working over many years to understand how we can really turn these trends around. One of the most important insights from our systems modelling and simulation work has been that while strengthening mental health systems is crucial for providing quality and timely care, it simply isn't enough. Because, and to use a bathtub for a simple analogy, the inflow of people with mental health issues is far exceeding the outflow, or the mental health system's capacity to help people achieve recovery. So the level of distress and disorder across the population remains elevated. The way forward seems straightforward. We simply need to turn down the tap. The problem is that research has pointed to a complex array of social factors contributing to that inflow. Things like domestic violence and social media and housing insecurity and adverse early life exposures and an erosion of our social cohesion and many, many more that overwhelm policymakers. But we at the Mental Wealth Initiative have been asking, what if these social determinants are merely symptoms that are distracting us from addressing a key root cause? What if the key to better social and psychological health actually lies in fundamentally transforming the very foundation of our economy? Let's take this lens to the issue of youth mental health. Economic policies can have unintended consequences that directly and indirectly affect youth mental health. For example, while industrial relations reforms implemented since the 1980s and 90s in advanced economies have improved business flexibility, they've also increased job insecurity, intensified work pressures, and reduced the financial security of households. While deregulation of the financial sector has created a more competitive financial system, along with other economic policies, it has also seen household debt soar. These can have knock-on effects of increasing parental stress, family conflict, disengagement, can increase the risk of drug and alcohol misuse and domestic violence, all of which significantly affect youth mental health. Also, research has shown us that unemployment and underemployment are direct contributors to suicide rates. Yet labour underutilisation amongst young people has reached nearly 25%. Last year, 9 in 10 young Australians reported experiencing financial difficulties. 70% were struggling to find affordable housing, and 20% were experiencing food insecurity. It is clear that young people today are facing vastly different structural pressures than previous generations, eroding their well-being and resilience. So how did we get here? What the last 60 years has shown us is just how powerful the rhetoric around a single metric can be in shaping our world. Since the founding meeting of the OECD in December 1960, which firmly established economic growth as the foremost global objective, GDP has become entrenched as a top-line indicator of a government's good management of their economies and welfare of their nations. Since then, GDP has been used to justify economic policy focused on the pursuit of greater and greater consumption, economic efficiency and worker productivity to the point that our health, social, political and environmental systems are now showing significant signs of deterioration and fragility. Economic policies has shaped a world where insecurity and anxiety about the future is taking hold, where scarcity, inequality, high competition and a focus on individualism is breeding self-interest, distrust, fear and eroding our sense of community, leaving us feeling isolated and disconnected. coupled with the existential threats or existential uncertainties of generative AI-driven job displacement and climate change, there is a growing sense of hopelessness amongst young people that their ambitions for the future will not be fulfilled, creating fertile ground for youth mental health issues to continue, which is outpacing the capacity of our treatment systems to respond. We will not be able to effectively and sustainably address the youth mental health crisis until we understand that economic policy is unequivocally mental health policy. There is no instrument more powerful in changing the course of our nation's mental health trajectory. And the international community agrees. In May this year, I had the privilege of being invited to attend the 77th World Health Assembly, where member states overwhelmingly endorsed a special resolution to recognise the inextricable link between economic policy and health, including mental health, and work to realign economic health with the well-being of ecosystems, communities, and individuals. I've also recently returned from New York, where the UN General Assembly adopted the Pact for the Future. Among its action items, the Pact formally recognises the inadequacies of GDP and calls for urgent development of measures of progress that better support sustainable development. These events mark a significant milestone in the global wellbeing economy movement. Countries including Scotland, Wales, Iceland, New Zealand, Finland, Australia, and others are leading efforts to measure prosperity beyond GDP. Specifically, they are incorporating a broad range of indicators including educational attainment, health, income inequality, and environmental sustainability into their national frameworks. And in Australia, we have the Measuring What Matters framework. While these wellbeing indicator dashboards importantly provide rich information on the various dimensions of population wellbeing, with upwards of 50 different indicators, they fall short in offering a clear picture of overall progress in the way that GDP does. As a result, GDP remains a privileged indicator used to justify policies that are eroding our our well-being and resilience, with investments to foster social and environmental well-being secondary objectives if nations can afford it and if it's politically convenient. This is a major barrier to achieving wellbeing economies. So how do we begin to overcome this barrier? Well, firstly, we propose integrating social production into our system of national accounts. Now, social production is the glue that holds society together. It includes activities such as volunteering, caregiving, ecological restoration, informal mentoring, civic participation, and unpaid contributions to the arts. Activities that contribute to strengthening the social fabric of communities. Social production can give people a sense of belonging and purpose and connectedness that fosters their mental health. It supports our ability to be productive in the formal economy. It improves environmental well-being, and it gives us surge capacity to respond effectively in times of crisis. In essence, social production makes nations more prosperous, more cohesive, and more resilient. For young people, supported engagement in socially productive activities can offer meaningful social roles and an opportunity to develop a positive self-concept, empathy, an outward-looking sense of purpose, and community connectedness, which can improve their mental health and well-being, their pro-social behaviours, and their life satisfaction. Social production is the missing part of the production equation, the fruit of human productivity that we currently do not value and insufficiently invest in. Combined with economic production, we call this the mental wealth of the nation. Because when we have environments that foster brain health, mental health, cognitive skills, and collective social and emotional well-being, we contribute in positive ways to the economy and to society. So measuring, monitoring, and regularly reporting on the value of social production and having it integrated into the national accounts rather than an aside, we hope will help catalyse a cultural and political shift towards a more balanced view of national prosperity. This shift can foster a new narrative and open new doors to innovative solutions for rebuilding our social fabric. Two ideas in particular that we think offer promise are firstly the social production wage, which offers a living wage in exchange for engagement in socially productive activities, and national time banks, which allow individuals to earn time credits by providing social production related activities to others, and then they can use the deposited time credits to access services they might need in the future. And you can read more about time banks in the QR code on your screen. Both policy innovations offer promise in strengthening community cohesion, promoting inclusivity, contributing to tackling the loneliness epidemic, and enhancing social and economic prosperity, thereby creating positive environments for mental well-being. But these are just two ideas. There may be many, many more that we can propose as we start to engage with the idea of policies that foster the mental wealth of a nation. So in conclusion, we are where they were, at a pivotal moment in history that demands a new approach. The thinking and tools that guided us through the 20th century are simply not suited to the challenges and threats of the 21st century. But shifting the entrenched economic narrative and frameworks won't be easy, and it won't be achieved by progressive economists alone. We all have a critical role to play alongside economists in advocating for well-being promoting policy and legislation, in taking up new metrics, and in mobilising communities for change. We must push ourselves beyond our traditional boundaries to reshape economies that will foster health and well-being for all. Thank you.